So this is the old NZXT H510, and I hate this case. It looks great, don't get me wrong, but oh my God, the airflow. Like, all you've got is a strip here. You've got this room for one fan on the top. Like, I think that might be room for a 140, but it's not enough. Come on, especially with, you know, the 30 series and your Ryzen 5000 processors. Like, you need some more if you want to air cool anything, even liquid cool. Like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna put a whole radiator like across the top here? No, because that's just solid casing. And this is just not even usable. So today, let's get the bad guy out of the way. Today we've got the H510 Flow. Get it? For airflow. NZXT gets it. Oh, come on, please. Ah! It's a locking mechanism. Is it actually? This is based off the H510 Elite, so there's some slight differences, but not a whole lot. So I haven't even actually built in one of these because I avoid them. I think they look amazing, but like I said, like, I tend to air cool everything. Here's the big new front mesh panel that they've got here. And it looks good. They've got like a little actual filter behind the front mesh part of it here. We'll try to take that off later and see how easy it is to clean the filter out. They still haven't changed this top here, which is kind of a problem. Basically, a lot of AIOs, you don't want the 120 millimeter. They're not big enough. I mean, they're big enough if you have a smaller CPU, I guess, but you want to leave some headroom. So just go to 240. Like, honestly, I don't think people should really bother with the 120 mils. I don't use many AIOs, so I could be wrong, but.
Can you just mount the radiator in the front of the case?
Yes, Jono. You could just mount the radiator in the front of the case, but sometimes it's not that easy, right? Like, sometimes it's a lot cleaner if you can mount it on the top, because the tubes just go straight up and you can hide all the wiring really easily. Whereas on the front, you've got the tubes going like all the way across or all the way along the bottom. I'm just not a fan. It's a preference thing, but hey, you do you. Back still comes off no problem. It's just captive thumb screws, which is always nice. Some manufacturers have moved to more toolless designs recently, and I mean, that's always preferable, but hey, captive is good too. There it is, yep. So that just pops off. Internal bracket, this looks like it can be removed. Yeah, if you take these thumb screws off, and so you can mount stuff out of the case really easily on a radiator mount like that. So yeah, the old one, I mean, it might be a little hard to see because of the tinted glass, but it's got that too. So I'm having trouble finding what the big differences are. NZXT probably just took a whole bunch of their old cases that hadn't sold yet, grabbed the front and drilled them through. No, I'm kidding. They've done some work here to actually like make this filter accessible, I'm guessing. Oh, hey, okay, so yeah, that's pretty easy actually. That is nice. I take it back. They've done a good job here. I mean, it's toolless and you can just like pop it on, pop it off. Just comes out like this. Cool, so there you go. You've got your filter, you've got your mesh front. Pretty much everyone started making these mesh fronts at least a year or two ago. NZXT does make a really pretty case, so it's okay that they took a little longer to catch up. For the Rileys and the minimalists of you out there, you say that, but then look, it's got like NZXT branding. I don't know, I'm just kind of against branding. I mean, I say that, but I'm wearing, you know, hey, the new dad hats, these are great. You should pick these up. I don't like the old caps because they're too big for my head, but these guys are just right. They do still have the branding on the front. It all depends on how much you care about like showing off brand logos and stuff. It's still got their same like cable running stuff here. Their cable ties that you can close up on them and stuff. You've got your SSD mounts, your front I/O. They've just got a full panel header. This is even better. Please, every case manufacturer out there, if you don't switch to just a preset or power switch, at least put it all in here. This thing is pretty nice, don't get me wrong, but the perfect case for me is probably, I'm a big fan of Fractal and Phanteks, but I also air cool everything. I know it's relatively safe. I mean, not even relatively, it's safe these days, especially AIOs. I grew up with people water cooling with the most jank setups in like the early 2000s and stuff, you know? You're seeing like home hardware, and it's just like, no, and I don't want to do that ever. And you hear all these forum posts about, oh my God, my build leaked and I don't know what to do.
The Davids out there.
So what I do instead is I just air cool everything because it's not going to fail. And you know what, air cooling is going to get your hardware to a pretty nice and cool space most of the time, unless you're trying to do some crazy overclocking or something like that. My favorite case would probably be the new Mesh Phi 2, maybe even the compact version. Those are really nice. Anything by Phanteks is typically pretty good as well, like the P500A or the P500A digital. I think the P600A is probably coming out soon too, so keep your eyes posted for that, I guess. Once again, I'm still really disappointed that they haven't added more mesh up here to let me put a radiator up top, because I typically go 2 or 3 fans in the front, and then 2 up top, and then 1 in the back for like that kind of air cooling. Don't think of this as a new case you need to upgrade to. Think of it as NZXT cases are, as well, the H510 specifically, is finally viable for air cooling, at least if you get the Flow version and you don't want to drill through it. Comes with 1 fan in the front and 1 fan in the back. So that's pretty standard for most cases these days that are worth more than like $60 really. You should get a fan or 2 at least coming with it. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, let's just throw stuff in here. But before that, a word from our sponsors. Thanks to Arozzi for sponsoring today's video. Arozzi wants to help you protect your privacy with their new Occhio True Privacy webcams. Take privacy into your own hands with the included magnetic lens cover and use the front switch to turn off the electrical circuit to the webcam's microphone. You can be sure that you are only seen and heard when you want to be. It features autofocus and light correction, and it also films at 1080p resolution at 30 frames per second. It comes in 2 versions, one with a ring light and one without. Get your Occhio True Privacy webcam by visiting arozzi.com or by visiting the link below. We've got our hardware box. This is okay. I don't even know where this was. It was just hidden in here somewhere and it fell out while we were handling the case. This seems bare bones. We have a bunch of cables. What are these for? Oh, okay, so they do have another front panel header thing. Maybe if you've got an ITX board or something like that and it's a little harder to reach, you can just add this on there. We're not gonna use it because they've given us this nice front panel connector. And then this is a splitter. Looks like an audio splitter. I'm honestly not sure why they would include this with a case. This is typically something that would come with like your headphones or your speakers or something like that. But hey, maybe they're just like, let's give them all the accessibility attachments. This is a big manual that gives me a lot of useful information that I don't need to know. Yeah, okay, so the cage comes in, pre-installed. Oh, and it screws. Okay, that's great. So these guys are for the HDD cages, which makes it really, really easy to just pull them out if you don't need them, because guess what? It's 2021 and yeah, hard drives, some people still use them, but me personally, I'm trying to go to all SSD or even M.2 NVMe SSDs. But let's remove them, why not? Oh, yeah, I'm not taking that out. Okay, so small thing. NZXT at the factory really screws these in tight. We'll leave the hard drive cage in there. That's perfectly fine. This is just a 3060 and I think a 5600X. Get subscribed to LTT because we're gonna do a full shoot between this guy, the new Flow, and then we're gonna put the same parts in the old H510 and we'll see how bad the thermals are. We're also checking to see just how much air cooling can actually air cool stuff in 2021 when you've got the most extreme components. So stay tuned. Also subscribe to Short Circuit because hey, you get more content like this where I unbox stuff. Will it fit? It better fit because it's NZXT's motherboard going into their case. The one thing I hate about this board, it's actually a pretty board and it looks great in here because you know, it's the white, like, oh, it just looks nice. Oh. I just lost a screw. It's okay. Magnetic tip. You can find the screws you lose. It's great. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Ooh, that's gonna be close. Oh my God, it closes. Hey, beautiful. Let's throw the power supply in, wire it up, and see how it looks when it's running. They do give you a lot of room for cable management, which is nice. And these channels up here, it's nice that they've both added little cable channels in here, so you can route it like that if you wanted to. So another thing I'm not a crazy big fan of is a lot of people seem to like this like bar design that kind of hides everything. But personally, I prefer nice rubber grommets that you can just feed everything through. It still looks really pretty. And the cable management actually does look really good once you're done. I'm not a big fan of the ones that put their PCIe ones here. I like that it's got this one here kind of near the front. So that's neat. Then you've got the rest of your standard case audio. You've got a F panel header, which is very nice because we don't have to put in the little tiny like 2-pin headers. You've got your HD audio, your USB 3. This is an RGB header, it looks like. No, this is USB-C, cool. I don't know if this board has a USB-C connection on it, but we'll plug it in if it does. Front fan, these are only 3-pin fans. I would prefer if they were 4-pin PWM, but it's not the end of the world. NZXT, I would just love a little bit more headroom because I honestly don't even know if I can plug this in from here. I mean, that being said, like, so far building in this thing, it's not too bad. Aside from the little, really minimal amount of space to get your 8-pin in. I mean, I also have a pretty beefy cooler. Let's be real here. Let's take a fan off. This is a lot better. I actually have room to put my hand in there now. Plug your EPS, your CPU connectors in before you do any top fans. If we had a fan there, there's no way, there's not a chance I could have gotten that in. This has got to be one of the easiest to get to filters I've seen. So definitely props to you guys for that inclusion. I almost didn't take out my slot covers. It's probably for like a vertical card, but I kind of hate these little extra slot cover systems. This stuff is all really tight. All these little things really kind of add up, right? So when you're trying to save a buck when building your PC, you'll think, oh, I'll buy a cheap case and it'll be fine. Yeah, sure, once you're done building, it'll be fine, but building will be a nightmare. Like that was what I did for my first like real PC was I bought like the cheapest case I could find, and it was a mistake. Before I cable manage anything, let's actually test it really quick. Sweet. Always test before you bother spending half an hour cable managing, or you're gonna hate yourself. You might get lucky. You don't usually, but you might. One thing that these guys do that a lot of others don't is this like top and side channel here. Watch the LTT when we do this properly, because we'll actually take more time to cable manage it nicely. With the Fantex cases and the Fractal cases, these tend to go a little longer. So like right now, you don't have a lot of room to strap. The Velcro should extend up to right here, up to this metal part, because then you'd actually get much better contact. Because like as soon as I move this, it's gonna pop out. So I'm just not gonna move it. Another major complaint here is that like I'm trying to use their provided straps and their provided like loops. And even if these aren't meant for cable ties, in most other cases that have these little loops here, you can put cable ties through them, or not cable ties, zip ties really easily. So I don't know why, even with these tiny ones, I'm like struggling to get it through. Let's just hide all this stuff with the panel. This is killing me. Oh, there we go. This wasn't the most intuitive panel I've had to attach though, but hey, it's an affordable, inexpensive case that looks awesome. Like here, check it out. It's clean, yeah, so fresh and so clean, right? So this guy's pretty easy to put in. It's mostly toolless except for this one screw at the back, and it's got little clips on the inside that it like pops into when you push it in. I forgot to put this back panel on too. The worst. I hate these things. We've got just the one fan in the front, like this is full stock configuration, and the one in the back. And what I'd really recommend is you want either positive or negative airflow. You don't want it to be all the same. You don't want equal airflow. You want it to either be pulling through the back or like pushing from the front. So what I do is I'd put two 140s on the front and then two 120s on the back. The one that's stock on the back here, and then put another up here. And you should have pretty good airflow. Like, we'll let Steve tell you whether that's right or not, I guess, but that would probably do it for me. Would I buy an H? Hold on, we gotta peel. Ooh. Ooh. That was not an elegant peel at all. It looks great. It was okay to build in, not my best experience, but far from the worst, like so far from the worst. Now that it's actually got this front mesh panel, yeah, I would actually go ahead and recommend the H510 Flow to friends of mine. You don't have to worry anymore about everything in this case just becoming way too hot. Are there better cases for airflow out there? Definitely. At this price point, probably, but at this point you're going to be looking more for looks and affordability, and I think NZXT is doing that here. And this was basically unrecommendable before. This gets in the recommendable category, which is better than it was. If you were afraid of this guy because there's no airflow but you love the look of it, no more worries. Go ahead and get the Flow. I think it's a great improvement on NZXT's case line, and as long as they just keep it up, keep adding small features like this that make a huge world of difference while not breaking the bank, then they've got a pretty good product at the end of the day. If you're interested in any of the stuff we showed here today, check out the affiliate links below. And thanks for watching. Subscribe to all of our other channels. And if you enjoy the short circuit, maybe check out the Meshify that Alex just unboxed recently. That was pretty fun. That's probably my favorite case.